DorkLair. Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Figura Obscura Krampus from Horsemen Studios. This has to be one of the quickest turnarounds in the history of Horsemen Studios. I mean, this thing went up for sale on December 5th and it's now Christmas week and we already have it in our hands. So very quick turnaround on this one. It's part of a new line. It's called Figura Obscura. And by the way, these two little children in the basket are not part of the set. These are from Mezco. They're 5 Points, Addams Family, Pugsley, and Wednesday. But yeah, I just threw them in there because they fit perfectly and they kind of match well. But yeah, so this is Krampus. And I just wanted to mention real quick at the start, if you're curious about my stand here, this phenomenal rotating stand, this is by Anything's Posable on Instagram. His name is Noah. He just does phenomenal custom action figures as well as some dio parts. And basically what this is, it's like a, so to speak, a skin over the top of one of those just regular figure or, like jewelry rotating stands. Kind of a brilliant idea. And I picked this up from him at Legions Con. And it's been a little while and I haven't done any videos with it yet. So I wanted to share that because I hadn't had an opportunity to share it yet. But thanks again, Noah. That is an awesome piece. And I saw him making more. I don't know if he's selling them or what, but he had a couple there. So I picked this one up. But there's Krampus. Very cool figure. Not only is this a neat, like, mythological folklore kind of thing, and a cool line for them to be doing, to be making like these folklore characters. But this is also an awesome body and kit bash piece, just with a ton of great parts for just Mythic Legions in general. I mean, you could kind of have it just be a demon in Mythos or whatever. But overall, I'm super happy with the figure, top to bottom, tons of accessories, awesome package, really great release. Pretty amazing that they were able to keep it a secret. And, I hope they try it again next year. So very cool. I do know that this version of Krampus will not come back. They said they might do another version of Krampus, and they're definitely going to do other characters in the Figura Obscura line, but it's just a place for them to explore beyond the bounds of Mythic Legions or Cosmic Legions. Anyway, why don't we get into this review? All right, first up, here's a quick look at the packaging. The outer, it's not a slipcase, it's a wraparound. Has some excellent graphics and artwork by Nate Barch. We have a write-up about the character on the back. And on this side is basically the spine of the inner box. And then these are magnets. And when you take the inner box away, what you have is a diorama piece, essentially. Part of my lighting here. But you can see a look at that. Winter scenery right there with almost like a Stonehenge in the background. And of course, here's the other side that you just saw. Then on this side, we have the window box. It says Krampus on the front. Again, art by Nate Barch with a wraparound scenery house on a little cliff there. And Krampus himself making his way towards that house, probably to punish the bad little children. And here's a nice close-up of Krampus's details. Beautiful sculpt work on the head and the new neck piece. And then, of course, the other new piece is this tail that has given some people a little bit of trouble, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But beautiful head sculpt. I mean, that is a freaky, freaky tongue. Got some kiss action going on right here with Krampus. Nice horns. You can see they're more of a brownish color if the light's catching it right over there. And there is some dry brushing over the top to give it a little bit of a frosty kind of look on that fur. Nice red eyes that are glossy, shiny paint job on the eyes, and those teeth are just gnarly. So really cool head sculpt. And so that you can see what's going on here, this piece here is a collar piece that just slides right on. So it doesn't peg in or anything. It's just like that. And you could swap that onto any of your other Legions figures. I've already seen people painting the cat heads black and making a panther type character with that. Body very much makes me think of Torion. And in fact, most of this figure makes me feel like Torion. Or if you're going to take a color swap, then the color swap really directly, because we got these hands and the loincloth and the parts, it would be Belphegor. So he's pretty much a Belphegor. He's like another demon like Belphegor. But But, you know, it's Krampus. Not a ton of paint to write home about on the armor pieces, on the greaves, on the gauntlets. They feel almost more like a Legion Builder type paint job, just like a basic paint job on there. But it matches the figure or the character well, that all black look. Really where the paintwork and the detail is all in that head sculpt. He's also got the standard hooves that most of the demons have as well. Next up, let's take a look at Krampus next to a few other figures. First up, I picked a couple Mythic Legions figures that I thought were appropriate. Here on the right is what I see as almost like the color swap figure of Krampus. That's Belphegor, you know, collar piece, demon head. Swap those, and then, you know, you got roughly the same figure because it's all the same parts from the neck down. On the left, we have Thalen Frostbow. I don't know, I thought she fit the winter theme, but you can see how he looks next to a 2.0 sized slimmer elf figure on the left. Next up, following the 2021 trend of dropping figures during the holidays, we have on the right is from the Mezco Advent Calendar, Cousin Eddie, and on the left, it's a few kit bashed parts, but it's mostly the Holiday Gomez, and it's got that swapped out head from the Cousin Eddie and a couple other little bits and pieces from other figures. And next up, we got a big guy and a little guy. On the left is the Wolf King Customs mouse, designed by Jeremy Gerard. Such a clever, awesome piece. It's built on a goblin body, but it's like built off the knees and the elbows. It's just awesome. And then on the right is the Storm Collectibles Axe Battler. And a couple other familiar lines, roughly right in that same scale, the 6.5 to 7 inch scale. On the left is the Tamashii Nation's movie realization samurai Ronin Mandalorian. And on the right is the Super 7 Skeletor from the Masters of the Universe movie. And last but not least, we have a couple smaller figures for you 1/18th scale and 3.75 collectors. On the left, we have Boba Fett, Return of the Jedi from the Vintage Collection. And on the right, we have the Boss Fight Studios Vitruvian Hacks Lord Veemus. That is an incredible figure. And I think those two together, you know, some kind of like regular human lord fighting some massive demon is a very cool look. Next up, we have the accessories. And first of all, he comes with the switch that's made of like branches that he, I guess, beats children with. He's got a pair of shackles, and they're pretty nice. The only thing is they don't open up or anything. You have to pop a hand off and then put it through. And speaking of the hands, he's got these two gripping hands, and I like the fact that we're getting some other colors added to the green and the human tones of the hands they introduced last year. And then he's got a string of bells right here. It looks like 6 bells. It's a couple different sizes, and they, you know, you can hear them jangling, and it's tied there. A little extra. You could probably untie it and retie it if you wanted to change the length of it. And then he's got his basket. Very cool piece. It's got a little top here. I'm not going to open it just yet because I don't want to show you what's inside quite yet. And he's got this string that comes loose, and I just kept retying it until it was the right length. And what I've been doing is tying it on the tighter side and then popping an arm off and then bringing, you know, put it through one arm and then put the other arm in there while it's wrapped around, and then keeping the knot towards the middle. I could probably shave some of this off down here. I've heard of people doing a slip knot. I have trouble doing that on such a small piece, but it's an option that would work actually probably well or easier. And then I've also heard of people wrapping it just all the way around because it's long enough. Now, I'm going to get into possible spoiler. If you ordered this figure and you haven't got it yet, there's a surprise inside here. So maybe skip ahead 1 minute if you don't want to know what the surprise is. But they were cool enough to add a surprise. And here you can see the top. It doesn't really stay on very well, the top. So, you know, you might have to, like, I don't know, save the little clear plastic thing it comes with that kept it on there if you want to have it secure. For the most part, I'm going to have little children in there anyway, so I don't care. But let's take a look at what's inside here. So this is really cool. I was expecting, I don't know, maybe like a knife or one small accessory, but it comes with not one, but 2 skulls. We have a 1.0 skull on the right and a 2.0 skull on the left, and that is just an awesome addition. And not only does it come with skulls, but it also comes with a pair of hands for a 2.0 skeleton figure. So that is pretty cool. I was expecting something small, but that's quite a bit of little bonus stuff that was added in there. And it also has one of the typical leather straps that was also inside that secret basket. Finally, let's take a look at the articulation. The head is on a ball joint and can spin around. And as you can see, this is just a separate piece that you can take off, and you could put the head back on if you wanted. And so this is fully compatible with the other Mythic Legions figures, and the head can knock side to side. Of course, it gets a little bit limited by this piece right here when you're moving it around, but it has a decent amount of movement there. The arms are your usual 1.0 muscled body. They can spin around, they can rotate out. They have a single jointed elbow. There's a twist at the gauntlet, twist at the wrist, horizontal hinge at the wrist, ball joint at the torso. He can crunch forward a little bit, he can crunch back, he can cock side to side, and he can twist. My hips are a little bit loose. It's a pretty common thing with Mythic Legions, but he can kick forward and back. You can twist the thigh. He can come out into the splits. He has a single jointed knee that also has a twist, and then a ankle rocker, hinge, and twist as well. And finally, I'm going to pop the figure apart so that you can see the last bit of articulation that was somewhat problematic with this figure. So right here, you can see how that pegs into the butt of the figure right there. And mine moves fine, but that's because I messed around with it a little bit. So if I pop this out, what's happening is a lot of people are having issues getting it in, and then once they get it in, they try to pop it out and they break it, or they twist it and it gets messed up. What happened was the peg hole was just too tight. So all I did was I just shaved down a little bit of the peg using an emery board just to get it good enough, then applied a little bit of shock oil, and mine pops in. And the issue isn't really getting it in. You can heat it up and get it in, but once it cools and it's like in there and you start twisting it, it's just too much torque and it flexes the plastic and weakens it. So you're better off probably like shaving it down, putting a little shock oil, or maybe even you could try just heating it up, putting it in with some shock oil and just having it kind of exist like that. But getting it shaved down a little is what worked for me, and it works well. I also like the secret touch that they have a Christmas color on the peg. So overall, I'm very happy with this figure. Minor gripes aside, I do know it's sold out. You're going to only be able to find it either on the aftermarket or if maybe the Four Horsemen have it at a show. They said they will probably do another version of the character in the future, but this version is it for this particular release. And anyway, I hope you can find this figure if you're looking for it. There are a lot out there. It lasted, they had a really good sale where it lasted a couple hours twice. So, you know, there should be a lot out there. Shouldn't be too hard to find. Thanks for watching my video. And until next time, Merry Christmas.